Hey there, Chiefs fan. We've got some fresh moves coming out of Kansas City, and it's all happening right before OTAs kick off. The front office just made a few roster changes, some signings, some releases, and while none of it shakes the NFL world, these small tweaks could say a lot about where the team's headed in the next couple of months. So let's break it down together. First up, the Chiefs signed offensive guard Trevor Wallace-Sims, often listed as T. Antrim Jr. on rosters. Yeah, he's not exactly a household name, but that's kind of the point. Kansas City isn't swinging for the fences here. They're stacking the depth chart and creating more internal competition before training camp heats up. Antrim's got some real NFL experience, even has a Super Bowl ring with the Rams and has played for a few different teams over the years. But to make room for him, the Chiefs waived running back Keontae Ingram and released wide receiver Justin Lockhart with an injury settlement. Ingram, you might remember, came in with some hope of being a depth piece but was often sidelined due to injuries. Lockhart barely saw the field. Truthfully, neither player seemed like a lock for the 53-man roster, so these moves don't come as much of a surprise. What's interesting is how this reflects the current depth at key skill positions. At running back, the Chiefs have Elijah Mitchell and rookie Brashard Smith stepping in. At wide receiver, the room's stacked with the likes of Hollywood Brown, Juju, Smith-Schuster, and Jalen Royals. So parting ways with Ingram and Lockhart? That's just business. So here's a question for you, and I want to see your take in the comments. How would you grade these roster moves? A, B, C, D, or straight up F? Drop your grade below and tell me why. And real quick, if you're enjoying this Chiefs coverage and want to help us hit our next big milestone of 4,000 subscribers, take a second to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It's free, and it helps. Keep Chiefs Kingdom stronger than ever. Now let's keep going and talk more about this new offensive line signing. Who exactly is Trevor Antrim Jr., and what could he really bring to the table? So who exactly is this guy, Trevor Antrim Jr., and why did Brett Veach decide to bring him in now? For a lot of fans, his name probably doesn't ring a bell, and that's fair. He's been something of a journeyman in the NFL, moving around practice squads and depth charts. But that doesn't mean he's without value. Antrim played his college ball at Clemson, where he was part of some really solid offensive lines protecting Trevor Lawrence during their championship runs. He wasn't a top draft pick, but he's one of those guys who grinds. He entered the league as an undrafted free agent and eventually landed with the Rams, where he earned a Super Bowl ring. He's also spent time with teams like the Saints and Falcons, getting reps at both guard spots. What makes Antrim interesting isn't flashy stats or highlight reel plays, it's versatility and experience. He's played both left and right guard, has held his own in spot starts, and has a reputation as a high-effort, coachable player. That's exactly the kind of guy Kansas City loves to plug into their system. Think Nick Allegretti-type depth. Someone you may not notice until you need them, and then you're glad they're there. Now, is he going to start week 1? Probably not. But this is a classic Veach move. Bring in someone who's got pro snaps under his belt and challenge the young guys. With Trey Smith, Joe Thuney, and Creed Humphrey locked in as the interior starters, Antrim's job is likely to push the guys behind them. Depth wins championships, and the Chiefs know it. This also tells us the Chiefs aren't fully satisfied with the current depth at offensive guard. Signing Antrim now, just ahead of OTAs, suggests they want to see how he stacks up in drills right away. No time to wait until camp. So here's the poll question for you. Do you think Antrim makes the final 53-man roster? Vote yes or no in the comments and back it up with your reasoning. You think he's just camp depth or a sneaky good fit? Stick with us. Next up, we're talking about what these moves say about Brett Veach's strategy heading into this season. Let's dive into that chessboard. Let's talk strategy, because every move Brett Veach makes has a reason behind it, and signing Trevor Antrim Jr. isn't just about plugging a roster hole. It's part of a larger philosophy that's made the Chiefs one of the most successful teams in the NFL over the past 5 years. First off, Veach is all about competition. He doesn't want anyone getting too comfortable, even if they're not a starter. Signing Antrim is a clear signal that no backup role is guaranteed. Guys like Mike Caliendo, Darian Kinnard, or even Wanya Morris, if they thought they were safe, this signing says otherwise. Veach wants to see who really wants it, who's going to grind, and who's going to win the job in camp. Second, Veach values versatility. Antrim has shown he can play both guard positions, and that kind of flexibility is gold for an offensive line. If a starter goes down mid-game, the Chiefs need someone who can step in without missing a beat. The more a guy can do, the more valuable he becomes. That's been a theme in Veach's roster building for years. There's also a budget angle. Let's be real. Kansas City is tight against the salary cap. They're paying big money to stars like Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, and Travis Kelce. So how do you stay competitive? You find affordable veterans who know the system, can contribute in a pinch, and don't cost much. Antrim fits that mold perfectly. But maybe the most interesting part of this move is the timing. Bringing in Antrim right before OTAs tells us that Veach is still evaluating this roster in real time. It's not just about what you did last year, it's about what you're doing now. If a young player isn't showing the expected growth, Veach isn't waiting around to be proven wrong. He'll bring in someone else and keep the pressure on. Bottom line, this isn't just a depth signing, it's a window into how Veach thinks. Always looking for value, always planning 2 moves ahead. And that's exactly why the Chiefs stay ahead of the rest of the league. Next, we'll look at how Antrim actually fits into this offensive line room and what his real chances are of making the team. Don't miss it. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how Trevor Antrim Jr. fits into this Chiefs offensive line and what his real shot is at making the final roster. First off, the interior line is one of the most important groups on this team. We all know about the starters, Joe Thuney at left guard, Creed Humphrey at center, and Trey Smith on the right side, but it's the depth behind them that often determines how well this unit holds up through the long NFL season. Right now, the Chiefs have some intriguing young options backing up those starters. Guys like Jalen Moore and Josh Simmons, both recent draft picks, are expected to compete for backup spots. Wanya Morris is another player who has flashed potential. These are the names you'll hear about when people talk depth. So where does Antrim fit in? His experience is the big plus. He's been in the league a few years and even has a Super Bowl ring with the Rams. That means he's been through playoff runs and high-pressure games. Experience like that can't be undervalued when you're talking about backup offensive linemen. But it's not just about experience. Antrim hasn't played a full season recently and has battled injuries. That raises concerns about his durability. The Chiefs will want to see how his body holds up in OTAs and training camp. It's a long shot for him to start, but if he can stay healthy and show he's still got it, he could be that reliable veteran backup. Realistically, he's probably fighting for the last backup guard spot on the 53-man roster. And remember, these roster spots are precious. The Chiefs have to balance the offensive line with skill position depth and special teams contributors. If Antrim impresses in practice and preseason, he could squeeze in. If not, he might end up on the practice squad or looking for another chance elsewhere. Here's a question for you. Do you think the Chiefs should prioritize experienced vets like Antrim over young draft picks when it comes to depth on the O-line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your opinion matters, and it helps build this Chiefs community. Before we close this chapter, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. We're so close to hitting that 4,000 subscriber goal, and every new subscriber counts. Hit that like button if you're pumped about the off-season moves. Next up, we'll wrap up with what these roster moves mean for the bigger picture heading into the season. So what's the big picture here with all these roster moves? Signing Trevor Antrim Jr. while letting go of guys like Keontae Ingram and Justin Lockhart doesn't shake the foundation of the Chiefs roster, but it does send a clear message. The Chiefs are focusing on quality depth, especially along the offensive line and at skill positions like running back and receiver. They're not just filling spots, they're trying to build competition. And competition is key in an NFL camp because it pushes everyone to play at their best. Depth is more important than ever, especially considering injuries and the long grind of a 17-game season. Having players like Antrim who bring experience gives the coaching staff more options. It also means the younger guys have to keep stepping up and proving they belong. We've already seen that the Chiefs are investing heavily in their skill positions with the additions of Elijah Mitchell, Bashard Smith, and the return of Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. That depth means releasing players like Ingram and Lockhart, who just didn't fit into the bigger plan. Ultimately, these roster moves show a smart front office strategy, cutting dead weight, adding depth where it counts, and giving the team the best chance to stay healthy and competitive all season long. Here's a quick question for you. How confident are you that these moves set the Chiefs up for another deep playoff run? Drop a yes or no in the comments and tell me why. Before we sign off, remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any breaking Chiefs news. We're so close to 4,000 subscribers, and your support really helps keep this channel growing. Thanks for hanging out and diving into these roster moves with me. We'll catch you next time with more updates and analysis as the Chiefs get ready for OTAs and beyond. Stay tuned.